Hi, my name is Phil Ficelli, and for my MAE 390 presentation requirement, I chose to do it on the SpaceX Falcon 9. What is the Falcon 9? Well, getting right into it, it is a reusable two-stage rocket designed for the safe and reliable transport of payloads into Earth's orbit and beyond. It is actually the world's first orbital class reusable rocket. This means that the primary benefit is that they can save the main engine and the fairings and bring them back down to Earth so that SpaceX can save money both on those parts to be used for future space endeavors. And just to kind of give some stats and some oversight of to how this has saved them and how it's been used in the past. It's had a total of 188 launches. 146 of those have actually had landings as the main rocket re-enters Earth's orbit and slowly descends back to the landing pad. And that means that 125 of those have actually been able to be reflown and just filled up with propellant and be used for another flight. Who is SpaceX? Well, SpaceX was founded in 2002 by Tesla CEO Elon Musk. It is the first private company to launch a payload in the Earth's orbit and return it intact. Since that time, it's grown a lot and has now over 6 facilities in both manufacturing and launch sites. And the primary mission of SpaceX is to build next-gen rockets for Mars missions and beyond. As you can see here, here's the primary rocket. It's split into 4 parts. I will be breaking down those later as that's part of the flight stages, but you can't really see them here, but they will be split apart later. This is kind of the general design parameters of the rocket kind of overview. It is 70 meters tall. It has a 3.7 meter diameter, a total mass of just over 500,000 kilograms. And you can also see the payload to Geo, payload to Leo, and payload to Mars weights. Like I said, I'm going to be getting into the space flight stages. This is the from the primary engine all the way to the payload, and breaking down how each one is important and has a critical role in the process of the Falcon 9 as it leaves Earth's orbit and comes back in for reentry and a landing. The first stage of the Falcon 9 is the primary rocket. It has a total of 9 Merlin engines, which are used for lift and redirection. They can be turned off and on at any time, which can also turn the rocket. Um, it's used to break Earth's atmosphere. It is the primary lift of the rocket as it begins its primary ascent, and then is broken off as soon as it leaves Earth's orbit. It is also equipped with necessary landing legs for when it re-enters and needs to come in for a landing to be reused. Getting into the second stage, it is a single Merlin vacuum engine used to deliver Falcon 9's payload back to desired orbit. It's activated right after the first separation within a couple of seconds and can be activated multiple times to get it at a certain orbit, a certain desired orbit. It has a burn time of 397 seconds and a thrust of about 1,000 kilonewtons. The inner stage is the connection of the first and second stage engines. It is made out of a composite structure and actually is attached to the first engine so that when it re-enters Earth's orbit, it can be used with these special grid fins on the side. I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of they have that polyamorous texture on there, and those can be used to, in addition to the engines, help direct the lift of the rocket a certain way so that when it comes in for landing, it's straight and doesn't have any twist. And finally is the payload. This is the final piece of the rocket as it's disconnected. This is what's carrying the satellite. It is made of a carbon composite material, and the fairing protects the satellite on its way to the correct orbit. The fairing is then jettisoned 3 minutes into the flight, which means that it's basically discarded. And then, in addition to the primary rocket, the fairings can also be recollected and used for additional space flights. And here you can see the infographic on the right is that is the primary launch parameters. It's the whole flight from launch to landing. and we'll get into that right now. But right now you can see after that first stage separation, the primary rocket will re-enter Earth's atmosphere and then come in for the landing, whereas the second stage of the rocket and the payload continue out until they get to the desired orbit, and they continue the space mission. So as soon as that first engine re-enters Earth's atmospheres, the engines are relit to lower the velocity back to the surface, and the grid fins are activated to guide the lift into the correct area. That is when the landing gear is finally deployed. Engines are relit one last time, and hopefully it can make a safe and guided landing. That was the general launch of the Falcon 9. Now, in conclusion, SpaceX's Falcon 9 is a revolutionary next-gen rocket that with some more time and development could be necessary for future space endeavors. With the ability to reuse the primary parts of the rocket, less money has to be spent on the manufacturing, can be opened up for the opportunity for further space travel due to easier reflight. The Falcon 9 is the future of rocket design and will be the leader in reusability moving forward. Here are some of the references I had when making this presentation. I primarily used the SpaceX's main website, and that's where I got most of my infographics. And I also used a article from time.com to get to know more about SpaceX and the Falcon 9. That was my presentation. Thank you all for listening. Good night.